And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Starting off flying weather for Sunday morning, we've got a lot of IFR here out over the Bering Sea, sliding in across northern Bristol Bay here and down across the central and eastern Aleutians with marginal VFR from the Alaska Peninsula up to Kodiak Island. Also St. Lawrence Island here through the Bering Strait, just catching the Point Hope Cape Lisburne area. And some IFR up over the northeast interior, mostly south of the Brooks Range, otherwise VFR here right on down to the Gulf of Alaska and the Panhandle. For the afternoon, big change here, as you can see, going from morning to afternoon. A lot of lower conditions spread up into southern Alaska, especially Prince William Sound, eastern and southern Kenai Peninsula, IFR there, as well as the eastern slopes of the western Alaska Range, southern Kodiak Island. Pretty good here through the central interior. IFR for the north slope and the Arctic coast, and some areas of marginal VFR mostly over the southern, northern, southeast coast. And the Aleutians now in Alaska Peninsula, marginal VFR and IFR here from the Pribilofs up to the southwest coast. VFR St. Lawrence Island up to the northwest coast. And then for Monday morning, big area of IFR continues over the northern and central Bering Sea, pushing well into the southwest interior, right up into portions of western Cook Inlet here and into the Susitna Valley. Another big area of IFR up over the north slope, down across the Brooks Range there into the Yukon Flats. And lots of IFR from the Gulf of Alaska here up to the North Gulf Coast and the southeast coast. Marginal VFR with quite a bit of IFR to the east. And for the afternoon, not much change, mostly marginal VFR with IFR over toward the eastern border, on up into Lynn Canal. Band of IFR here holding along the North Gulf Coast, some of that spilling up into the southeastern Copper River Basin. IFR up there for the central north slope. We're mostly around the Anatuvik Pass area and in the Brooks Range there, otherwise not too bad to the south or east or west of that. And Arctic coast looking mostly VFR. Still some IFR, but starting to diminish now over the northern Bering Sea and mostly back along the southwest coast with marginal VFR for the remainder of the Bering Sea and the Aleutians, as well as Kodiak Island. And for the passes, Brooks Range, marginal VFR for Anatuvik, let me go the right way, and Adigan, marginal VFR as well. Lake Clark and Merrill, IFR, especially on the eastern approach, and for Rainy, IFR as well. And windy, marginal VFR. Isabel, marginal VFR. Mintesta, looking pretty good. VFR for the entire day there. And Tanita, back to marginal VFR. And IFR for Portage. And Chilkoot and White should squeeze out a VFR day for Sunday. And for the freezing levels here, 4,000 feet, Alaska Peninsula, Kodiak Island, 2,000 feet up across the into the southwest interior here, back across Kamishak Bay, otherwise south of the Aleutians there, and out to the west, about 2,000 feet or so here around the Bering Sea down to the Aleutians. And for icing here, with a band of considerable moderate rime icing here associated with the frontal boundary here, elongated from east to southeast, or from west to southeast here, right across southern Alaska, Cook Inlet, Kenai Peninsula, northern Kodiak Island, and another weaker band here down into the east central Aleutians, and stays icing free from much of the interior to the Arctic coast, as well as about Yakutat on down the southeast coast. And for the jet stream tomorrow, we've got northwest winds 80 to 95 knots there along the Panhandle, weaker up here to the north, low pressure pushing in toward the southeast Bering Sea, in toward Bristol Bay. To the south of that, westerly winds, actually a couple of lows here over the Bering Sea, and to the south of that, we've got westerly winds 75 knots there around the Fox Islands, Falls Pass area, picking up to 80 knots around the central Aleutians, 100 to 110 knots farther to the west. And 9,000 feet here, pretty much the same pattern. We've got low pressure across the Bering Sea there, westerly winds blowing at a pretty good clip at 45 to 55 knots there across the Aleutians, turning southwest at about 40 knots, Kodiak Island and the Aleutian Range, much lighter up over the interior and down across the southeast coast. And for turbulence, no significant turbulence here for much of the interior on down into the Gulf of Alaska and for the southeast coast, but looking at light to isolated moderate turbulence, ADAC, more likely Atka, right up across the eastern Aleutians, Alaska Peninsula, Shelikof Strait, possibly Kodiak Island, and pushing up in toward across Bristol Bay, maybe into the extreme southern Kuskokwim Valley area.